Hi, this is Shannon Tidwell, Garden Girl at Two Peas in a Bucket. I am excited to bring you the first weekly installment of 213 in 2013. Myself, along with a team of 3 other garden girls, will be bringing you a weekly video. With each video, you will be getting 4 to 5 creative prompts. So by the end of 2013, you will have a list of 213 creative prompts to get your creative juices flowing. This is actually something that I do myself. I keep a list of ideas in my journal, so when I'm working on a layout and kind of get stuck, I have something to turn to help me get started. For my layout this week, I've been wanting to scrapbook these photos of my daughter from Halloween, although I didn't want the layout to look like a traditional Halloween layout. So I've gathered up some supplies in bright colors and some cute patterns, a lot of Fifth and Frolic from Dear Lizzie that I think will work really well with the pictures that I've got picked. Now, I'm not limiting myself to these supplies. This is just helping me get started. So now I'm going to go ahead and get started with the first prompt, and it's going to be to add subtle texture to my background. So you can see that I've chosen this nice gray diagonal stripe for my background. And what I'm going to do is really simple. I am just going to machine stitch this gray thread down the diagonal stripes. And you can see here that it adds just a bit of texture, a bit of interest to the background. It makes the paper stand out and it becomes my own background paper. It makes it different from the rest. Now, if I was looking to brighten things up on my page, I could have used a brighter thread, and that's also a different look that you could go for. But for this layout, my embellishments and my photos are going to be pretty bright, so I just wanted to add a little something to the background, kind of something to make you want to reach out and touch it. And here I'm just going to add little strips of this nice pink striped paper to the top and bottom of my layout. It'll cover up my stitching, the end marks of my stitching, and it'll add a little bit of color as well. And here you can see that I've also decided on this green polka dot paper to add in behind my photos, as well as this craft pocket that I'm thinking I'm going to use. Time for prompt 2, and now we're going to get crafty. You are going to reach for some of your craft supplies. I made some of this pom-pom trim for my Christmas tree, but I thought it would be fun to do it on a smaller version and maybe in some different colors for a scrapbook page. I first intended to use the pink twine, but it actually ended up being a little bit too thick for my needs, so I found this gray and white baker's twine that worked a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is just cut a length of it a little bit longer than what I'll need, and I'll tie a knot in one end and then thread my large needle on the other end. I've gathered up a few pom-poms in the colors that I want to use, and now I'm just going to thread them on, poking the needle through the center of the pom-pom. Make sure you get it through the center and just work its way down the twine. And then I'm just going to space them out as I get them on there and figure out how I want the garland to go across the page. And now I'm going to move on to prompt 3. I'm going to play with a pocket. So I finished the garland, but now I want to make sure that I've got the base of my layout done before I attach it. I have found this really cute layered sticker from Doodlebug that's actually probably a few years old, but it's going to work perfectly for this layout. And it'll go great on the pocket, but I'm just feeling like it's going to need something else. So what I'm visualizing with this pocket is kind of cutting out a window in the center of it and then filling that window with some kind of translucent paper, either a vellum or transparency. I'm not quite sure yet. So what I did is I cut a piece of packaging. It's kind of a thick cardstock, and I'm going to tape it right onto the front of the pocket where I'm going to cut the hole. Now that I've got my template adhered to the top of the pocket, I'm going to go ahead and slide in some more cardstock packaging to the inside of the pocket just to protect the back side of the pocket from getting cut as well. So the pocket is a really thin paper, so I just lightly press with my craft knife around the template that I've adhered to the top. And you can see that I have a nice hole right in the front of my pocket. Now I just need to figure out what I want to cover that hole with. And I'm thinking that the transparency is going to work best. So here I'm laying the transparency right over my hole. I'm going to mark it where I want to cut it just a little bit bigger than the hole I've cut. So the transparency fits perfectly over the hole I've cut, but now I want to dress it up just a little bit. So I just ran it through my sewing machine and stitched around the edge. So once I get it adhered down, I'm adding just a thin strip of adhesive all the way the very outer edge of that transparency. And so once I get it stuck down, it'll look like it's actually stitched on there, but I kind of faked it so that I wouldn't stitch all the way through my whole pocket. I had a little bit of extra adhesive around the edge of the transparency, but it rubs off really easily. Now it's time to fill up my pocket. I have a big jar of confetti. It's actually just some party confetti that I bought around Easter time. So that's so much easier than punching it on myself because I want to put a lot in this pocket. Since it's so big, I want to make sure that it shows through the little window that I've cut. And now just a little dab of washi tape to make sure that the confetti doesn't come out of the pocket. So now I'm really feeling good about the base of my layout, and I'm going to go ahead and get this big pocket and my photos adhered down. That way I can start concentrating on the little embellishments of the page. I'm ready to get my cute pom-pom garland banner adhered to the page. One of the best ways that I find to get a banner across the page in a natural fashion is to actually stand the layout up and let it drape naturally before you decide where you're going to adhere it on the sides. Okay, now I'm going to start thinking about the smaller things on my layout, the small embellishments, the little things that I'm going to add to make it mine and to really dress it up. I know that I want to use that cute owl on top of the pocket, but I really need something to base it on, something to ground it with. So I'm going to go to one of my standbys labels. So I really don't have a specific plan on which labels I'm going to use at this point. I'm kind of just digging through my supplies and finding labels that I think will work well with the layout. I found this long one that I really like the color of, and then I found this Elle Studio sheet that I had with numbers. So I'm going to add in the 31 label. I'm not sure where on the page yet, but I just want to make sure it's included because it'll work great with the Halloween theme I've got going on. And then I know I'm going to need something to journal on, so I'm just kind of thumbing through the cute pads from Simple Stories, the Snap journaling pads, until I find one that I really like. And then I've also printed another small picture here that you can see, and I'm just going to add, I feel like I need something else with bright colors up in that top right-hand corner, so I'm just going to work on putting together a little collection of things. And I'm going to go ahead and stick down my owl sticker. You'll notice that I'm not using any adhesive behind the label yet. I don't want everything stuck down permanently, but I just kind of want to start getting things in a place so that I can start layering things together. And now you can see I've also added another paper up there in the top right. It's actually packaging from an Amy Tangerine product. I love the orange grid. I'm just going to add a little bit of machine stitching to it to make it fit with the rest of the layout. You can see I slide it right in there. Again, I only use adhesive on the side, so I've got plenty of leeway when I want to tuck things in behind as I'm working. So now I'm just going to work on putting this little collection of things together on the top right. I also felt like the layout needed something subtle over there on the left-hand side, and that's why I chose this glitter sticker. It's a white glitter sticker by KI Memories. I like to go ahead and cut those out with the backing on. That way I can kind of see where I want it on the page before I make the commitment of actually peeling it off and sticking it on. And now for the fourth and final prompt of this layout. I'm going to be layering some labels. I've opened up a couple packages of Snap stickers by Simple Stories, and I am in love with these things. They really have some great stickers in there, some really cute things that I can't wait to use. But for this layout, I'm going to put the label stickers to use. I also found some stickers I want to use on the 12 by 12 Snap Collection Kit sticker sheet. So you can see here that I've gathered up a couple stickers that I want to make sure to use, and I'm just kind of going to slide them in and layer them up and see how I can fit them all together in an interesting way. And I mentioned earlier about how I didn't adhere down that top label. I really like how it kind of floats off the page. If I adhered the whole thing down, I wouldn't be able to slide anything behind it, and it would be flat to the page. But since it's just adhered by sticking to that sticker, which it's plenty stuck, it'll still kind of float off the page a little bit and add just a little bit of dimension to the page without actually having to add any extra height or weight to the page. And now I'm coming down to where I'm just adding the final touches to the layout, the little things that added just a little something extra. I've added this label sticker up to the top where my journaling is going to go. And since I've already stitched around that paper, I'm going to use my tiny attacher just so it doesn't look like that sticker is an afterthought. I want it to look like it actually belongs on the page. And now it's time to do a little bit of journaling on the cute snap journaling card. And I want to add the date on this layout somewhere. And how silly am I? I didn't even know that there was a white set of letters with this Dear Lizzie little letter set. I only thought there was gold. I never flipped it over. So I'm really liking these white ones, and they'll go nicely on the white labels, add the date to the page without really standing out too much. So it took me a little bit to decide what I wanted to do for the title of this layout. At first I thought about just letting it stay Simply Wonderful, but then when I woke up this morning and looked at the layout, I felt like it needed a little something more. So I got some thickers for the owl, and now I'm adding in these cute little labels that actually came off of the Snap label sheets. And I love that they're already kind of notched like little flags. And so I'm using them kind of a banner style around the owl, and then added a few up at the top around Simply Wonderful. So I wrote sweet and of mine on the labels around the owl, and I'm putting little pop dots under them so they kind of float off the page a little bit. And then I'm going to add some machine stitching to the little labels up there at the top, just to kind of help them fit in with the rest of the page. And now I think I have finished the layout. And that wraps up our first 213 in 2013. You've got 4 prompts to get you started this week. To add a subtle texture to a background, get crafty with your craft supplies, play with the pocket, and layering labels. So if you're challenged this week, I hope that you'll choose at least 2 of these prompts and submit them to our challenge. Once again, this is Shannon Tidwell, Garden Girl at 2 Peas in a Bucket. Have a great week.